wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests joining us this morning.
Yes, indeed.
We have Ava DuVernay and Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor. Welcome.
Hello, Aunjanue.
Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor. Welcome.
Good morning. How do y'all feel today?
How y'all feeling?
Glad to be here with y'all.
Black and blessed.
That's right.
That's right.
Blessed, black, and highly favored.
That's
There
right.
you go.
We're talking about the new movie Origin, which is in theaters January 19th. It's based on the book Caste by Isabelle Wilkerson. And I loved the book. I loved the movie. But when I heard you was doing a movie, Ava, I had no idea how you was going to turn it into a film. You know, so what gave you the idea that you used to make it the do I call it a scripted narrative? Right?
Yeah, it's a drama.
Yeah.
Well, break down how you heard about Caste. What made you read the book Caste first? I thought that was interesting.
Oprah was really in my ear about this book, and but it was during the pandemic, and I was sad. You know what I mean? And then it came out about 2 months after the murder of George Floyd, and I just really wasn't trying to read a big old book. But she kept on me, and finally, maybe a few months later, I've read it. And I didn't quite understand it. It's thick. It's a big one. But there were some things in it that were interesting. I just didn't agree with everything, so I read it again to try to really understand it. And by the time I got to that, about the third time, I said I want to make a movie about it. The reason why you're saying you didn't know how I was going to turn it into a film is because it's not a story.
No, it's facts and it's
facts.
research.
Yeah. And so the idea was, well, let me make a movie about Isabelle Wilkerson, the author, as she's researching those facts. And then, so that's what the great Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor plays, is Isabelle.
When you watch the film, you can clearly see why it's called Origins. But how did you know the name needed to be changed?
I don't think people want to go see a movie called Caste.
Yeah.
I don't even think enough people know what Caste is. I didn't. And so I'm just really trying to bring people into some, information, some emotion about things that we should be thinking about in this country, because it's so much easier not to talk about it. And we need to be talking about it. Our freedoms are slipping away. There's information that in history that is being kept from us. There are secret arcs of what's going on in our society, whole arcs, beginning, middle, and ends, that we are not aware of. And so a lot of that is in her book, and we tried to bring it into the film.
How much time did you spend with Miss Wilkerson, Aunjanue?
I didn't spend any time with Miss Wilkerson. By the time that I became a part of the project, Ava and Miss Wilkerson had kind of developed a working practice where she just sort of said, Ava, you do your thing. And when I became a part of the project, I honored that. I respected that.
Well, how do you embody her so well? Because you're like one of the most passionate, thoughtful actresses on screen, but it really comes through in this film. So how are you able to do that?
Well, the great thing about her writing, and I recommend anybody to actually read the book Caste, is that she's and you know this, her writing is so transparent, and there's blood in her words. Every pillar of caste that she argues through every part of the book, she's in the book. She builds her arguments from her own personal experience. So I looked at the book Caste when I was reading it, when I got the part, as a memoir of Ms. Wilkerson, and I got a lot from that. I studied her interview. She did an interview with Michael Eric Dyson, Brian Stevenson. I cross-referenced how she was in those interviews. So I just used that as my source material. And then I had a great script that Ava wrote.
I was going to ask, how were you able to get out of character? Was it easy? Because watching the film, I think anybody who watches it will get so much emotion, right? It starts from the beginning. You get emotion because it brings you back to that time, to even the conversation when you're having with the plumber, and it puts you in a situation where you're upset and you're mad and you're angry. So how did you get out of character, and how long did it take you to get out of character when this film was finally over?
I'm still in character.
Really?
I'm still in character.
Wow.
I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were asking me about why I wanted to do it, and I said, well, I feel like I have something in common with Ms. Wilkerson. I don't have her brain, but I do feel like I share her heart. I don't have Ava's brain or her artistic abilities, but I do feel I share her heart, and I feel like it's my mission, and that's why I wanted to be a part of it. So I'm in this character every day. The difference is how Ms. Wilkerson presents herself is far different from the way that I'm far more passionate. At least I present more passionate than Ms. Wilkerson does. Ms. Wilkerson is very withheld, and I am not.
That's very interesting that you say that you feel like you don't have their brains, because it feels like a symphony, right? Like all of y'all are together.
Yes, I don't know. She's
She being humble.
the sister is a intellectually rigorous partner, the most robust, muscular exchange of ideas that I've ever had on any set with any actor that I've ever worked with in 15 years of doing this.
Wow.
And I've worked with incredible people, but I'm talking about let's dissect what we're doing. Let's think about it together. Let's look at every line. Let's really make sure that that our intention is coming through in every scene and everything we do. And that kind of partner was incredible to have. So yeah, it was an extraordinary experience shooting with her.
When you watch the film, you see Miss Wilkerson going through the whole creative process of the book. Do you see yourselves in the movie's version of Isabelle?
Yeah, I do. You know, when you're making a film, you are on a singular journey. You're with a group of people. It's like you feel like a tribe of folks that are just kind of at war with, fighting for a vision and fighting for something every day. And I feel like she was doing that, but she was alone. You know, she was alone in the world. In this film, we travel from, you'll see we're in Berlin, we're in New Delhi, India. We are crisscrossing through 7 different time periods. We are kind of on this globe-trotting, globe-spanning mystery, romance, intellectual adventure, but we're all together. Isabelle Wilkerson was by herself when she did it. And so just the idea that we're able to chronicle and capture this incredible feat done by this sister is something that was an honor for us.
What about you, Aunjanue? Do you see yourself in the film's version of her?
Yes, I mean, I feel that she writes for me. She writes my mind. She writes my heart. She writes, so much that I did not have the words for, if that makes sense. I knew that there was something at play here, but I didn't know how to articulate it, and Miss Wilkerson gives us the words for it. My experience being from rural Mississippi and understanding that these statues and the flags, that they're not just hagiography. They're not just, we're putting this up here for our fallen heroes, that they are tools of intimidation. And this is what this is the work Miss Wilkerson does. She calls it out. She calls the thing for what it is. And so she writes the words I need to know in order to fight for what I need to fight for.
Charlamagne and I were talking about the movies that you do and how so meaningful the movies are.
She don't waste her art.
No, she doesn't waste her art at all. How many projects do you pass up? Because we can tell you do it for the culture. You do it for uplifting, where a lot of people would do it for the money, would do it for the check. But you're a lot different when it comes to picking your movies and movies that you decide to do. Why is that?
I don't get offers. I don't get offers for movies, so I don't pass anything up. The studios.
What?
I know people believe that I got a stack of scripts. I don't get said scripts.
Really?
The only offer that I ever received, like a real offer from a studio, was A Wrinkle in Time. They made the offer, I took it. I was like, yes, I will do that. But I self-generate, because I don't get them.
Even
not
the
in the
DC
film
film?
world. Not in the film world.
Even
No.
the DC film?
No. I raised my hand and said I'd like to do New Gods. Yeah.
Wow, why do you think that
you're too
is?
black?
Yeah.
The stories you tell are too black? What is it?
I don't think so. I don't know. I can't say why. So I don't have a stack of scripts. I generate myself. When I think about what I'm doing next, I think about what I'm doing next. I don't sit around and wait, because my experience has been like they don't come. Yeah, you have people that are like, I want to make a movie, or attach yourself to this so we could raise money. But I'm talking about offers for movies. Hi, Miss DuVernay. This is the latest rom-com, or this is the latest drama, and would you like to join us? And that doesn't come.
Why do you think that is?
Because
you've proven yourself times 1,000.
I don't know. I think sometimes Hollywood sees certain writers, directors, and producers as self-generators. They know I write my own things, but I write my own things because I wouldn't be working if I wasn't writing and producing my own things. So, 13th self-generated. Queen Sugar was a book that Oprah had said I want to make. So that's different. She's not a studio though. Selma was something that came to me through David Oyelowo, who pitched me to the producers. All the TV stuff has been things that we self-generated out of Array. So I just say, look, you can have a beautiful career. I've had a beautiful career, but you can't wait. You can't wait for them to knock on your door. You can't wait for anyone to hand it to you. You got to go out there and make it yourself, and I'm still doing it. But it works for me.
I think the word I would use for your art is intentional. Like, you never waste your art. It's always intentional. Do you feel like there's a piece of everything you did leading up to this film in this film?
Yeah, I think there is, and I think even when I look at Anjanue's work, I think somehow as artists, everything that we did led us to a certain moment where we had everything we needed to get out there. You know, I mean, even I think your experience on King Richard just 2 or 3 years before, and the kind of spotlight that was on you for that, I think prepared you for, you know, one of many things that prepared you to just take the lead of this and be number one on the call sheet, be the leading lady, lead that crew. You know, when you're the lead in a film, you're kind of like, in some ways, if you're really good at it, kind of co-directing, right? Because people are following your lead as the you know, the number one, as much as they're following mine as the director. Right. And so that really, you know, it figures in. I mean, if you've got a jerk at number one, then the whole thing starts to fall apart. You know what I mean?
A trigger for you.
We've all, you know, I've not been there, but I've heard about being there. So,
Can I say this real quick? I think that people have a misconception about what being number one on the call sheet is. Being number one on the call sheet, it's a position of leadership, you know, and leadership is service. Is not being served, is being of service. And I think people miss that boat a lot. Yeah.
Is it true, Aunjanue, speaking of being of service, that you stood outside a movie theater passing out postcards to promote Origin on the day of the Golden Globes?
Yes, I did. Yes, sir, I did.
Wow.
And she's trying to go tomorrow too, asking me for extra postcards.
That's dedication.
Yes.
Wow.
Sure did. Absolutely. And that's what I mean. That I'm not waiting for somebody to do it for me. I want to do it myself. We don't have a lot of money, right? We don't have millions of millions of dollars in promotional funds. If you're on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, and I've been there for the last couple of days working on this, every billboard is some incredible movie. We don't have that. So we got to get the word out whatever way we can. So first of all, thank y'all for letting us come on here.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And I was outside that movie theater passing out them postcards.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Man, that saddens me a little bit, though, because I'm like, yo, great films like this, great black films created by black people, black women, it should get the promotion in the market. And you think about everything that Taraji's been saying recently about, you know, pay in the industry for women. Whose fault is that? Is it our fault for not supporting these films like we should with our dollars? Or like, whose fault is that?
In general, in our industry, it is an interlocking puzzle of factors that put us all in the places that we're in. And so to ascribe it to one thing would be to reduce a very, very complex math that is generations old. And that, you know, I really feel we need to solve for by getting together as a group of people and trying to address everyone's different issues and find solutions. But it's just not one thing. Like that, the pay issue, it's a real issue, but it interlocks with so much history within the studio system and within Hollywood, within the marketing, the distribution, the exhibition, the casting, the production. I mean, it's layered. It's from you're not seeing folks on sets in the positions where they're being crew members. It's in the casting. It's in the executive ranks. It's in the marketing. It's in the promotion. It's in the publicity. It's in the distribution. It's with the exhibitors. You know, the actual theaters themselves and what they want to play and what they think folks are coming in. So, you know, it is, it's a mess. And yet we still make our art, and yet we still tell our stories, and yet we still enter into this and wade into it to try to enlighten, entertain, empower, tell our stories. So whenever you see a film, like I love watching films late at night on BET. Let me tell you why. They have one camera. Like there's one camera. You can tell, you know, they had two lights. You know what I mean? In these movies, the makeup might not be quite right. Everything might be quite right, but you are seeing someone with a voice trying to create something. And so I think, you know, it's really hard for me to criticize films because it's hard out there to make them. And I know that whenever I see someone and bear witness to someone trying to do it, they are fighting a battle that most people don't even know.
Yeah.
What makes it worth it for you, Aunjanue, as a working actress? Like if it's not financial, what makes it just worth it for you?
It depends on what it is. You know, I'm not gonna say that, you know, I'm above doing. I gotta take care of people in my family. I got people who rely on me. family and friends. So Halle Berry famously said, acting is I don't know what she said. What she was trying to say, what she said was, it's a job.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not something you do for fun. It's great if you can do it for fun, but it's a job. It generates income for your life. But when you can converge these sort of things of purpose and paycheck, like that's what I live for. And origin is one of those places. I believe, and I cannot say this enough, coming from Mississippi, where there is an active move to redact Black women, Black people from history books, from curriculums that is happening all over the South, that if you can come inside a theater with some popcorn in your hand and Ava DuVernay is offering origin, offering our history to us in places where we should learn it, but we can't because there's an act to remove us, to erase us. Right. And when I'm doing this kind of work, I feel that it makes me want to get up in the morning, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was going to ask, what do you want people to get out of this film? Because there's so much to get, right? I'm one of the scenes where your mom in the movie, and she's talking about, maybe the boy should have just listened, right? And the crazy thing about that is that's something my dad would say, right? And he would say that because he's looking at it as, I just want you to get home, right? But now me being a father, and I have 2 boys, as a young man, you think about, I don't care what they say, I don't have to do this. But now as a father, I think of the same thing. I just want my kids to come home. And then on another scene, you look at the love story with the gentleman who was, dating a Jewish girl, and you see his, and you see what his heart meant. So what do you want people to get out of this story?
The true message.
The true message is, people come out of this film, and we've shown it in different festivals and things around the world. And people come out of the film, and some people come up to me and they're talking about grief and loss. Some people come up to me and talking about their grandmother. Some people come up to me and they're talking about, the scenes of the Holocaust or the slave ship. Some people are talking to me about Niecy Nash and how she made them laugh in the Black Family Reunion scene, or Audra McDonald, or Blair Underwood, or whatever it is. And I don't want to define what people take out of it. What I want to say is we are not defending ourselves, and we are not talking enough about what is happening. And I hope that this turns on people's desire to want to read more, talk more, Google, research, figure out what is happening around us. When I talk about the stripping of rights, this is an urgent call. There's so many people making it. And I'm just a filmmaker, so the only thing I can do is make films. That's what I do. And I'm asking you, what can you do where you are? Because we all need to alert ourselves, remind ourselves, orient ourselves to where we are and what is coming. There's going to be a change in this country. It is going to be happening within the next year. And if you're not aware of what those changes are, please watch the film or don't watch the film. Watch, read, talk to whoever you need to talk to get up on the current state of events. And this is an all-out emergency. So that's why it was really important for us to try to create something that instigates conversation. You come out and you're talking about it, that's the goal.
I thought it was incredible how you showed how Miss Wilkerson was inspired to write Caste after the shooting of Trayvon Martin. And I know Mr. Brina Fulton, his mother, has turned down a lot of people in regards to putting that story on screen. So how did you convince her?
You know what? I called that sister. I was so nervous when I called Miss Fulton. I called her. And she was like, girl, why are you so nervous to talk to me? I said, does my first voice sound nervous? She said, yeah, your voice is shaking. She made me feel comfortable. We laughed. I told her what I wanted to do in portraying, the final night of her son's life, her son Trayvon's life. And she said right there on the phone, do it.
Wow.
Do it right there. She said she believed in the work, she believed in my storytelling, and that she trusted me with the story. Wow. I said, do you want to come to the set? Do you want to see the script? No, just do it. And so she visited my campus in Los Angeles. We keep a nice touch. Her other son came to see the film. I showed her some clips of the film just so that she could be aware, before it was out. And she's been a beautiful, beautiful advocate for the telling of the story.
Was that the real 911 call? That might be a stupid question.
That is a real 911 call.
Okay, 'cause I was like, man, whoever did that voiceover was great.
That's the real killer's voice. Yeah.
Wow. This movie also shows that Black people and Jewish people in
can I just say one thing? But on that call, you hear his last words. So in the back, when in the film, when you hear the final 911 call that Zimmerman made when he called when people were calling the police on the scuffle outside.
So the yelling and screaming?
The yelling
Yes.
and screaming, yeah.
It's his screaming in the back.
gunshot. Mhm.
And, he's saying help. You know, and when we think about that case, we think about Zimmerman, but you don't think about that boy on the ground yelling, help, help, help me. And so, it's important to give visibility and presence to his voice. And so in the film, you don't just see what was done to him. You see what he was doing before this man even walked up to him. He was on the phone with his friends, going to get some candy, talking on the phone. And
he was afraid.
Yeah,
he was
That's
afraid.
what stood out to me. Like,
Yes.
man, yeah, think about that in the moment. You're in a neighborhood that's really not your neighborhood. It's dark, and you feel like you're being
Someone's
followed.
circling
Guys
the block.
following
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And then, you run because you want to get away. And
That's right. And so we show it from his perspective. It was the same thing with When They See Us. People were mad about that. But the bottom line is, this is their story. You're mad about Selma. This is the black people of Selma's version of the story. This is When They See Us. These are the Exonerated Five and their families' versions of the story. And so it's just like, who gets to tell the story? Whose perspective does this history and this news that you hear, who gets to tell it? And you know what? I just answered my question. Maybe that's why I'm not getting scripts.
That's why I don't judge the old woman in the movie or anybody who feels like that.
Absolutely.
Because when I watched that scene, I literally said, "Don't run, brother."
Because
I
we're
don't-
old.
But if-
we're older now.
yeah,
You know
but
what
if
I
you
mean?
were
We
in
have
that
experience.
situation,
you would have ran.
When you were that age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When you were that
Yeah.
age, yeah.
Yeah, this movie shows
Well, these
that
young ladies have to go too.
you got 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm
We
just
got
doing it.
time. We're here with you. We thank you.
And this man wasn't a police officer.
And that's
Zimmerman
another thing.
was not a police officer.
Wasn't
Police
police
told him to
officer.
stand down.
Yes.
They told him,
They
Stand
told him,
down.
stay
yeah,
where you are.
We don't
Yeah.
need you to do that.
Yeah, yeah. But that's what that piece in it is what got Isabelle Wilkerson, from what she told me, thinking about the whole idea of caste. Because she was like, wait a minute, this is a Latino man stalking a black boy to protect a white neighborhood. That's not race. So everybody just puts that in the box of race. And she was like, but that's not race.
Because Zimmerman would have been in the same situation if that was him in a different neighborhood.
That's right.
Yeah.
But also you have so she was saying there's something more complex than this being race, because you have all of these different class elements, ethnicities, where the geography was. So she started to think about, well, what is it? And that's what led her to the idea of caste. So we open the film and you see Trayvon Martin in his life, in his day before George Zimmerman is even around, and what he was doing before. And it was important to humanize him. I think that's the thing with when you're showing trauma on screen, you can't show it as spectacle. You have to show it as the emotion and the dignity of the person who's been traumatized. And so when we open the film, you open on him talking to his homegirl on the phone, laughing, doing their thing. So by the time he is assaulted, he's not just the boy in the hoodie. You know what I mean? You know really specifically what was on his mind, what he was doing, and a bit of who he was. And that's so important when we're dealing with, matters like this on screen.
Has Miss Fulton seen it yet? I'm sure, right?
Yeah, she saw the scenes that he was in.
Okay.
Yeah. She saw the scenes.
I wonder how that was for her. I
I was there. She had two friends with her, a family member and a friend, and they were both very emotional. But that sister she was emotional, but she was stoic about it, and she said yes, that's right. And so you imagine what a mother goes through, and the way they have to reserve their emotion, and she was I won't say strong, because I not hate that word, but I think it's overused. But she was, very. I think she was very present in the moment as she watched it. It was emotional, but she was processing it like analytically, like a mom, like protectively, like, okay, you can go do that, And I've really enjoyed. Each time we cross paths.
Why do you hate the word strong?
It's overused. It's like amazing. I think they're dead words, like amazing. When someone says, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing," I'm like, "Can we go?" You know what I mean?
But I also think
strong.
that's burdensome for Black women too, because it's expectation of strength. I just think it suppresses. I think it suppresses clarity of emotion in Black women.
To the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I'm getting real comfortable with y'all. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think it's something that suppresses clarity of emotion in Black women. There's a presumption that Black women should be strong. That's why we're not listened to in doctors' offices. That's why experiments were done on Black women who were enslaved for the health of white women, because we are presumed to be strong. So yeah.
What do y'all hate more, Strong or Auntie?
Ooh, equally.
Why are you trying to get them beat up on me on the internet? They came for me because I said I don't want to be called Auntie. I was like, really? My own opinion about what I want to be called is creating such literally mayhem online? I was like, folks, yeah, let's focus.
There's a precedent for that. Fannie Lou Hamer was called Auntie, by people. She said, I'm not nobody's aunt, I know that it's sometimes said in love, but
people have their preference, and there's a historical context for me and where that comes from. That but culturally, I know people embrace it, but people should have the ability to assert what they feel comfortable with, and that's for me.
The movie shows that Black people and Jewish people, in regards to our origins, have more in common than differences, but also shows why Black struggle is so unique. What do you want people to get out of that part? Because I felt like even now, it's like, wow, that's very timely to have in a film.
I don't think it's timely. I think it's circular. I think that we're constantly coming back here because we never left. So some people ask Ava, she always speaks to the moment. And I think that what she does is she comments on the moment that has never ended. And one of the things about that was so strong and compelling to me about this argument for caste is that in order to maintain these hierarchies, a higher caste, people will do things to maintain that their place in the hierarchical system, and what they do is that they vote against their interests in order to maintain their power. And so that's why a book like this, a movie like this is so important, is because we explode that idea of I'm voting for this person because of whatever reason. The reason is that you want to maintain your power, and you would do something that is so self-destructive just to maintain your power. And that's what I think the book speaks to. That's what I think the film speaks to.
It will be out in the world on January 19th. And if it is near you, and it may not be near you, but I ask you from my heart, if it is near you, you'll have to find it, because it will not find you.
You should.
There will be very few commercials. There will be very little promotions. You will not hear about it in your face like you're hearing about everything else. I'm asking you to look for it, to Google and see if it's near you. I'm going to cry. Google and see if it's near you. And if it is, please go or send someone to go. And it's not for the box office, because I'll never see it. I'm not getting paid on this film. I didn't get paid on this film, right? I put my money into the film itself. The film's not going to make enough money for me to ever see any money back. Go to see it so that it can do what the purpose of it was. Our intention was to bring us together to talk about the things we need to be talking about, learn about the things we need to learn, come out a little bit more knowledgeable about some key things that might help you in your decision making, because decisions will need to be made, and soon. And so please Google, check, reach out, find it, take someone. That's my ask. If there's anything I've ever made that has entertained you, Queen Sugar, Selma, Wrinkle, Colin in Black and White, 13th, anything I've ever done, please look for this, because I think there's something in it that that will be worth your time.
Well, how many more labels of love do you have, Ava? Because that's what this feels like.
I don't know. I'm tired.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I
really
can see
am.
it in you.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Well, I was going to say, I seen Ben Affleck, I seen Dave Chappelle do screenings.
Yeah.
Charlamagne, you want to do a screening, me and you together?
Absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah, so we'll do a
That's
screening.
easy.
We'll get a theater here.
I actually want to do it for some kids. I thought about that last night because my daughter's 15. I was like, yo, I would love for her and her age group to see it, because it's so educational. It's entertaining, of course, but it's also educational.
And you have something that you're doing for teens, right? 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Break that down.
It's called Seat 16, and you go to Seat SEAT 1616.com, and you can buy a ticket for a young person. And for $16, you buy a ticket, and then they also get a year-long subscription to Masterclass, because I did one of those Masterclasses about how I made the film. And so for a year, they can go on and they can get a master class and watch master classes and have an education about all kinds of things for $16. And the hope is that we can, get young people into this.
So you could just go to the website and pay for a 16-year-old's ticket. And,
a young person's ticket for $16.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what's the site again?
Seat16.com.
Seat16.com.
I promise I got two quick questions. Is this one about the film?
They got TV in a minute.
No.
Oh, you don't have TV no more?
I don't know, but keep going.
The scene, I don't want to give too much away about the movie, but the scene where the Indian guys are cleaning the feces.
Yeah.
I was told that wasn't in the script, and that like those were real workers from India.
Those are real workers from India.
I mean, I'm sure it was in the script, but
script.
those were
Yeah, no, those
workers.
were real. Those were not actors. They
Okay.
really do that job in India. We found 2 men who are activists who work in that job. We're advocating for that to be abolished, and they said we will do this on screen. Now, of course, I didn't have them go in actual feces. I created a trench, and that's what you're seeing is the Hollywood version. But those are real men who do that job, and they were generous enough to do it for us on camera.
So they wanted to be seen because they don't.
They want it to be seen because they want people to know this has been generations old, that there is a job not a job, but a position in India, the lowest of the low caste, underneath the lowest caste. They're called Dalits. And they are made to, and for generations, clean trenches of excrement. That is their position in life. And they do it. It's not for money. It's for leftover food. It's for a few pennies. Wow. For the money that they made that day was as much as they make all year. So the day that they were on our set was as much as they make all year. And so this is, these are the things that are going on around the world. And you can't call that racism because they're in India and they're all the same. They're all Indian,
It's the system,
right?
yeah.
So there's something else underneath that animates the idea that these people are less than these people, and that is all over the world in all kinds of different ways. The ways in which people grab money and power by subjugating other people goes far beyond skin color. It's skin color here in the United States, but if you want to have a global understanding of oppression and subjugation and how to triumph over it, you got to know all the factors in the equation. And caste is one of them.
And Aunjanue, the conversation at the pool with the old white guy. How do you come down from those?
I honestly, I don't. I mean, I don't come down from them. I stay in that space, and I had to while we were filming. I'm still in that space. I think what's incredible about, not incredible because I believe it. It's incredible is something you don't believe in. I believe this. I think what is important about this film is that connectivity that we keep talking about. It's a global connectivity. When you go online, the trailer is showing online, and I just I girded myself and I went in the comments. I got in the comments, and what I was seeing Indian people, East Indian people, thanking Ava for talking about Dr. Ambedkar, saying, feeling seen. Feeling like their experience as Dalits is feeling seen. Dr. King went to India, famously we didn't know that he went to India, and he said, I'm an untouchable. They are Dalits are called untouchables. We have so much in common. And I think for me that the mission of this film, the call to action of this film is finding that connectivity of folks who are deemed in the lower caste, and how we can be empowered by that.
The thing that I'll really say here is thank you, Aunjanue Ellis. I have the opportunity on this airwaves with national. I don't know where y'all go. National,
100 markets,
international, 100 markets.
Yes.
To thank you, to say I'm giving you all of your flowers. To say that this film is going to last and last and last. It's going to be found. It's going to have life. It's going to go far beyond this moment. We're in a tense moment. We're in a tender moment. We've made something. We want it to be amplified. I'm flying myself to Atlanta to promote it. I'm flying myself to DC to promote it. I'm buying, my own ads. I'm doing all these things to try to push past what's not happening and what we expected. And that is okay to do. And I believe that people who hear this will hear the passion in my voice. As I say, when you see this film, you give Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor her flowers.
That's right.
You give Isabelle Wilkerson her flowers.
You give Ava DuVernay her flowers.
Well, you and our flowers are learn. You know what I mean? If this film changes your mind or makes you have a conversation you wouldn't have had, or makes you think differently, or makes you want to investigate or learn more, then that is the flowers. The flowers is not the awards or the or the dollars at the box office. It is, did it do what we set out to do? And so please check it out for yourself. That's right. Don't feel responsible. You don't have to support because you're not really supporting it. You know what I mean? Like this is not going to be a blockbuster. Support your own development, growth, curiosity, or disagreement. Watch it and disagree with it, but get in there and wrestle with the ideas. That's the hope.
If it means anything, Ms. DuVernay, I think this is your best work. You know, because I don't think you get the respect you deserve as a writer. You know, as much as you do as a director, but there's a lot going on in this film. But you were able to take like the documentary style of 13th and mix it with the narrative of a When They See Us, and it just creates a great piece of work called Origin.
That's right.
Thank you.
And Aunjanue, you phenomenal as Miss
Bodied
Wilkerson.
it. That's
like,
right.
Like phenomenal.
Bodied it.
Thank you.
All types of emotions.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys so much. The movie, January 19th. Go check it out. Go see it.
Go find it.
Yeah, go find it. Go find
It's
it.
gonna be in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
It's gonna be somewhere.
You
We
know what I'm
appreciate y'all for
saying?
joining us.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
us, brothers. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Honestly.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.